Good afternoon. This is your host, Jasir Khabir, host of the New World of Thought. And this is a podcast that we're starting, or live stream that we've started. This is our third such broadcast. And we're focusing on the night of power, the night of power, enrichment society, empowerment. We want to empower our audience. So today, as in the past couple of weeks, I'm here with a wonderful young lady by the name of Charette Miller, who has published this book titled The Most Fascinating Person I've Never Met. So our subject, we want to get into escaping the bondage of religious trauma. And we want to get right into this subject. If you have any questions or comments, you can send me an email. All my information is right here on this channel. So let's get right into it. Ms. Miller.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for showing up.
Okay.
I look forward to this. It's your microphone. Unfortunately, our information for us, the podcast, the tools that I ordered, is not working properly. So you got the floor.
Okay. Well, first I'd like to, okay. First I'd like to thank everyone. If you have purchased a copy of my book, thank you so much. If you enjoy it, let me know. If you don't, let me know also. But thank you. And if you've visited our Facebook page, it's the book title, The Most Fascinating Person I've Never Met. So I just wanted to start off with that.
Okay.
Okay. So you said today's title is Escaping
the Bondage of Religious
Trauma.
Yeah, that's your title.
Okay. So what's trauma? How will we define trauma?
I mean, it's up to the individual. How a person grieves and how they feel about trauma or abuse. I think that's for them to decide.
Okay.
So I think our initial response has been about false religious worship and the effects of it, what it does to children as they are raised in false religious worship,
mm-hmm.
and how they grow into a system of warpness. And then they continue to pass this on to their children. So this has been going on in our community for 400 some odd years, as we talked about. And the reason why we named this the Night of Power, because this is a very, very dark period of time in the world. Every nation on the planet is going through turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
There's no peace nowhere. So who brought about this lack of peace? People did. People. Lack of peace did not fall out the sky. It wasn't a spirit, wasn't a spook, wasn't a goblin. What we are confronting comes out of the minds and hearts of men. I said men, I'm also speaking of women, because man is a species. So from the hearts and minds of men and women, we have this turmoil.
Okay, so where did that turmoil and those traumatic ideas and feelings come from? Because we weren't born with that. We aren't born fearful. We aren't born afraid. We're taught. You're taught how to be afraid. You're taught fear.
Well,
that's just my understanding.
When you say we, who are you talking about?
We as a people, or
well, that's not true. We as a people, we are born with that innate fear, mm-hmm. because you got to understand us being kidnapped from Africa, the continent that's called Africa. The whole planet was called Asia at one time.
Mm-hmm.
But, when the devil divided it up into 7 continents, as they always done, they call it continent Africa. Mm-hmm. But I'm for the purpose of this broadcast, I'm going to say Africa.
Okay.
So when our first ancestors landed here in the year 1555, when did you learn in school, in the history class, that the first slaves arrived? What year was it?
I don't remember.
You don't
I
remember.
can't recall that right now.
1619.
Okay.
Have you ever heard the phrase or the cliche or the idiom, the $64,000 question? You ever heard that?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
That's your homework assignment. Look it up. The $64,000 question deals with that. It took 64 years to break the initial cargo of black people that came to America. And this happened down in Jamestown. 64 years. So in that 64 years, it's not like they brought them here and all of a sudden they just jump right into it. That's not what happened. They had to break our ancestors. And if I start talking about what they've done, then I may go grab my shotgun and all my weapons and just start going nocturnal on people. So I don't want to do that. But before I do anything, let me give a shout out and pay respects to my beloved father, the great Jasir James Harrison III. My father passed away a few months back. Today is his birthday. He would have been 84 today. And my dad is the coldest man. I worship the ground that he walked on.
Yes,
so I just wanted to acknowledge my dad, and all that in his almost 84 years that he accomplished, in this world. And I'm grateful to the true and living God for my parents, my dad, as well as my mother, who's also a great, highly intelligent woman. And they came together when they were teenagers and said, okay, we're going to have this big head boy and we're going to name him Luke. So, so here we are. I just wanted to give praise and honor to the true and living God for my dad.
Okay.
But anyway, it took 64 years. And in that 64-year process, fear was instilled. So you imagine going into a pregnant woman and cutting the baby out of her stomach and making the man watch. Raping the woman, making the man watch, making the children watch. Rape the children, make the man and the woman watch. This is what these sons of bitches did. I'm sorry. I was instructed to stop cursing. So pardon me, I'm going to work on that part. But this is what they did. What they did in that 64-year period cannot be blotted out of our history. And you got black people right today, they're trying to forgive them. That's trauma.
It is. Yes. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Of course, they knew what they were doing. Yeah.
doing.
Well, it was we started getting into the book, and I can get into that history about why it was necessary, and our people went through all kind of things that, like I said, if I start talking about it now, it's not going to be a good one. So I have an article that I'll email you, dealing with that 64-year period. So the $64,000 question is just that. It talks about the 64 years in the making of a slave. It took them 64 years, which is 3 generations approximately. So by the time 1619 came, the job was already done. You're talking about strip them of their name, strip them of their belief system, their culture, and their way of life. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So
Sure do.
Now here we are, going on 500 years later. We love their name, we love their religion, and we love their way of life. We love their God, which is themselves. So you escape, or you were freed from chattel slavery, physical bondage, but our people are still, black people for the most part, are still captive in mental bondage, which deals with trauma.
Exactly. So we loose from chains, around our wrist and our neck, our
Right.
ankles, but the mind is still in bondage.
Right.
Even today.
Right today. Yes. So you have to, and that's what this program is about. It's about giving our people and anybody that wants to participate or listen. I don't care who you are. You can be, of the original family, or you could be the colored man.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because the truth is the truth. White folks like to say, let the past be the past. But that's not how they function. So you have, 40, almost 50 million people here still captive in America. And so they have to escape this traumatic, pathetic system of bondage.
But you know what? A lot, it's been my experience or my observation that a lot of people don't want to, or maybe don't know how to, or just simply are afraid to, or just is so in love with it that, nothing else matters. This is where I am. I'm staying here. No matter what you say, I'm not leaving the plantation, quote unquote.
Of course. Well, that's the trauma. That's what took place. And like I said before, and I don't mean in harm and disrespect to anybody, but white folks can have those people. Men, women, and children. My purpose of doing this is just for informational purposes. And if anybody wanted to reach out to me and, learn more about this, I am, a teacher of supreme wisdom. I do teach this, so I'm not here teaching, supreme wisdom now in the line of, what we normally align ourselves or are thinking with, teachers or preachers or ministers or people like that. My pedagogical constructs is more like a university professor. So, but if you want to learn more about it, by all means, reach out to me and I can, take you out in the deep waters. I got a few life preservers I can give you.
Absolutely. And like I said, yeah, I'm not here, to offend anyone. I just want us to think, just think about what we're doing and why. Our ancestors, correct me if I'm wrong, but our ancestors, they had to survive. So they had to accept what the oppressor and the slave master put out, or they were going to die. And then, they were being raped every day. And like in the things that you said, nobody's raping me. Nobody, is putting a gun to my head saying, hey, well, you got to accept Jesus Christ. Well, you know what? Yes, it is. I guess not literally, but figuratively speaking, because they instilled that fear of going to hell. If you don't, pay your tithes, you robbing God, so you won't, might lose your job, or, your light bill not going to be paid, or, God going to get you because you're robbing God. And I've been I was so bonded up, if that's even a word, in my mind that I remember when I would get paid, for my job, and I wasn't making that much money.
Mm-hmm.
I would take out my tithes, $200-$300, whatever, put it in my glove compartment, because I was going to pay my tithes on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have enough money to eat. My daughter was a year and a half at the time, so she had milk and she had food,
Mm-hmm.
but I had white rice and sugar. That's what I ate, because after paying for childcare, that was it, and paying my tithes, that was it. And that's what I ate. But that in my mind, I'm being a faithful servant. I'm doing what I have to do for the Lord, and the Lord is going to bless me. And I wasn't fool enough to realize that He did bless you. You went to a job to get your paycheck and get your wages. He made a way for you, and you turn around giving it away. He didn't tell me to do that.
Well, you got to go a little deeper in that, sister, because
I not to cut you off, but I have seen people who don't have the best living situations, but they are giving their life savings, wiping out their bank account, giving it to the church, and then celebrate. Oh, we done paid off the mortgage to the church. We done paid off the house to the Lord. Is your house paid for? Are you out of debt?
Well, I think um, your analysis is a correct one.
I've seen this happen.
Well, I've seen it happen as well. But where I'm going with this, remember, when you escape from one place, you still got to consider where you're going to land. To free our people from chattel slavery, where were they going to go? Because they wouldn't. We've never been restored back to our natural state. You know, my presentation on YouTube that I sent you, Re-Educated Black Man, I was dealing with that. So, in all of your, I'm talking to you directly now, Ms. Miller. In all of your direction or where you're trying to go, you still have to find the right place.
Well, my purpose.
Finish if you don't mind. Because what you enunciating pertaining to the job and you being blessed, and it's still the thinking mindset of a slave. You understand what I'm saying? That's the poisonous effect or the traumatic effect of what that religious mindset did. Because you still think, you're still enunciating a form of religious ignorance. Even because what about the people who don't believe in no God, that are atheists? Who blessed them with a job? They don't believe in no job. They don't believe in no God. Or what do you think about the people that don't have the same belief system you have? Who blessed them with a job or a car or a home? Where they get the money from to pay their mortgage off? So you got to go way deeper than that. So here at, the New World of Thought, all of everything that I have to interrupt Ms. Miller with this because I'm here to really get into this subject. Because what you're saying is correct. But when you begin to look at it as an independent people, what the hell is the job? Go make your own. And even then, if you go make your own, if you go in business for yourself just to support white oppression, then you're still in business for the white man. You're still a slave. The Do for Self Academy program means just that. Hey, let's do something for self. Because even when you begin to, okay, I no longer go to church, I no longer worship from a standpoint of religious, and I'm not sending 10% of my earnings to the church. Well, what are you doing with the money? We still don't have any independence as a people. You understand what I'm saying to you now?
Oh, I do, absolutely. And that's the end goal. But first, before we can even get there or you even consider that, you have to get rid of the trauma, the
Of
disease,
course.
the poison, the cancer.
Of course.
So that's the $64 million question?
$64,000
$64,000 question.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of that first. And that is deep. That is.
I agree with you.
It's deep.
It's a process.
Right.
It's a process.
And I started my quest for understanding and truth and knowledge in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not new to this at all. I started this a long time ago, and I still am not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. I have a deeper understanding, but I haven't arrived yet, and I've been through, all of the naysaying and she done lost her mind, and, the devil done got a hold of her, and she listening to all of these different voices, and we just gonna pray. I've been through all of that, and that's still happening. So just let everybody know. No, I have not lost my mind. Well, you know what? Yes, I have. My grandma used to sing a song, and this stop looking at me like that.
I mean,
she used to sing a song, and the words are, "My mind is gone." And I used to like, what is grandma talking about? Like, is she crazy? No, but she's talking about her old mind. So when we talk about, 'cause, when it says when you're in Christ, you're a new creature. Behold, all things are passed away and all things have become new. So you have to be renewed, not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So that's what she was talking about in the Christian sense. But for me, what I'm saying is the programming that I was subjected to, the doctrine that I was subjected to, that mind is gone or is going away.
You think so?
Not as much.
Okay.
It's not gone completely.
Then
But-
that's how you. This is me. This is not a debate. I'm not trying
Oh,
to
no.
debate you.
Oh, no,
I'm just
no.
trying to help you get there.
Right.
So those are remember what we said. Words actually count.
Mhm.
So then you need to tell yourself that. Don't tell yourself. Tell yourself the truth, because that's part of the healing.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And the truth of the matter is that you're and most of us are still very much affected by that. We still live in that trauma.
Yeah.
This is why last week, sister, we dealt with, go and confront your tormentor.
Mhm.
See, you're not saying anything wrong, and I'm not trying to, correct everything you say. I just want you to understand the steps, because it took 64 years to break our ancestors. They kept us in chattel slavery for 310 years. And it's like the old saying goes, if you take a baby elephant, put a shoestring around his leg, tie him to a fence or to a pole, and when he gets to be a big elephant, he can stay right there by that pole.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? Not realizing that he should have never been tied there in the first place, because that's all he knows. The process to correcting the behavior is just that. It's a process. In the making of the white man, you know how long that took?
Repeat your question.
In the making of the white man, you know how long that took?
No idea.
It took 600 years to make him. 600. In the creation of the God who created himself, you know how long that took?
No, sir.
It took 6 trillion years. So the things that we take for granted, eyes, blood, organs, life systems, that took a period of 6 trillion years. Okay? So we're not going to get out of this in a short time. And then the other part is, even when you go back that far, our people still did not have the reality of God. We weren't evil. We weren't liars and murderers and things of that nature until the liar and the murderer by nature was made. And you go to your book of John, the 8th chapter, read 32nd through the 44th verse, and you can hear Jesus talk about that. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
He said, you are of your father, the devil.
Mhm.
He's a liar and a murderer by nature from the very beginning. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, that was a process. And they were given an authority to do what they did. They were given dominion over everything. So quite naturally, everything that they have developed, every weapon of destruction, be it physical, chemical, you understand what I'm saying? Mental, it comes out of their mind, which by nature, they were made to do just that. You can't expect anything else. So how do you get out of that frame of mind? Because once you escape the church or the religious doctrine, you still have to have a place to land. And when you really haven't completed the escape until you get to the place of safety. Because the whole time you're still on the run, you're still running, you're still being followed. And the only thing that solves it is either death or independence.
Okay, well, let me pose this scenario or question. So once you escape, you know, how do you free your mind? Because, and what I mean by that is, how do you free your mind? How do you silence those thoughts? How do you silence that overthinking? How do you silence that self-condemnation? How do you break that self-doubt, or that urge to go back?
You come back by
I've had that.
by confronting your tormentor.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. These are basic staple items.
Mm-hmm.
You escape, right? You get yourself together. You're shaking off the residue of that frame of mind, and then when you become strong enough, you go and confront your tormentor. A lot of times, people try to confront evil or being wrong, and they are not equipped with the wisdom. Because you got to understand, the devil is a god too. Your tormentor is a god. These people are gods. They're the gods of this world. Okay? So they know all the little tricks. They know what to say. They are very skillful. So it takes a person like me who possess a superior wisdom. I've been doing this as long as you've been living. So I'm getting to your question. So what you do is what you're doing now. You continue to seek knowledge, because the knowledge of what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, from your free thinking mind, that's when you're going to discover it. No one can actually do this for you. You have to do your own work, like you're doing now. And I still say this is one great start. This book right here, this is one great start. My teacher, the great Elijah Muhammad, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him. He wrote an article titled "The Destruction of America's Education System." And the way he described us was like Samson, who became so dissatisfied with the house when he pulled the house down on his own head. But Samson did not consider that he was bringing about his own demise. So that's what a lot of us do. We become so angered by what was done to us, and we don't care. In a rage, we just want to destroy it, but you still have nowhere to go. So go prepare a place for yourself, so you have a place of refuge. And that's that, because otherwise, if you don't get on the course of preparing a place for self and kind, you're only going to be confined to that which you learned from the slave master. That's what you're going to try to duplicate. But you say, I'm going to do it better than them. You can't outdo the devil and the evil. Okay, how righteous you think you are. You cannot use evil to do righteousness. Mm. So that means you got to cleanse yourself. As grandma said, I lost my mind. Mm-hmm. So we call it brain. Somebody said, like, may say, well, Charette, somebody might watch us on this and say, oh, that man, he brainwashing her. Mm-hmm. Well, you're damn right. I'm trying to get the dirt out of her mind. That's my responsibility as a 5% poor righteous teacher, is to teach you the truth of God. That's all I'm responsible for. So yeah, it's a brainwashing. What has been done to us was not the washing of our brain. It was a brain soil. We've never been brainwashed, because our brains have not been washed. It was soiled. So now we need brainwashing. I just think, with all due respect, that you are in a perfected position right now. You're highly intelligent, you're highly talented. What you have here is a great, great component to overcome this bondage of this religious experience, you know, but you still want to do it with the end game in mind.
Right.
And that's where I come in. That's why I'm here. I'm here to receive those people. And I don't care what nobody think. Who do you think he is? I'm God. Every man is a God. Some people, they serve the God of righteousness. Some people serve the God of evil. I serve the God of righteousness. And if we didn't have people, righteous people, trying to do the righteous will of God, then tell me what God you believe in.
The righteous God.
Well, if you don't have people that manifest the wisdom of the righteous God, then how you're going to find the righteous God? It has to be through his people. Just like devil got people, Satan has people. The true and righteous God, the true and living God has to have people too. See, when you begin to understand the reality of God, it removes spirit. It removes a mystery, that which is unknown. And a lot of times when we try to make the transition from bondage to freedom, we still have to drop slavery. We still have to, and that slavery is rooted in the reality that we were deceived into the thinking of the true knowledge of God. Deceived. And now Black people are leaving the church in droves, in companies, but they still don't know where to go.
Right.
They just still floating around in thin air. I'm a separatist. Land is not just to grow food and become safe from people saying that America going to fall. They call it off the grid and so on and so forth. No, that's not it. Land is to grow a new people. And these people are going to bring in a new world. That's the new world of thought. And when you get to the point that you understand the importance of land as it, relates to freedom and independence, that's when you know that you have arrived to answer your question. All of your focus will be, what the hell is a job? JOB, just over broke. Go to college, get your degree, and you get a chance to get some accomplishments and everything that goes along with that, and that's fine. You should. Go get the knowledge from those who know, but take that knowledge and do something for self.
I absolutely agree. Yes, sir. And thank you for that.
Yeah, that's all.
And if I could backpedal for a moment, I want to pose this question to you for young people who might be, watching or listening later on the replay. Okay, when we talk about confronting your tormentors, I want to drill down or unpack who specifically are we talking about when we say tormentors. Okay, we have the oppressor. Does that include our preacher, our religious leaders, our whatever religion that we're in? But what I want to ask is, how do you confront your quote unquote tormentors if we're talking about our religious leader, if my religious leader is my parent?
You never confront your parents.
Okay,
I covered that with you 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so
I'm gonna do it again.
So well, let me say. So what's the answer? What would you say to a young person who is watching, who is in that predicament?
Okay.
So you're not
You're talking about a minor.
Right.
You're talking about a minor.
Right.
That's a darn good question, and I'm going to say this again because we've covered this already.
What? This is not for me. This is for.
I know who it's for.
Okay.
Yeah, I know who it's for. You're talking about young people.
Yes, sir.
Young folk, you have to obey your parents. You definitely have to obey your parents. As long as you're under your parents' roof, and they're taking care of you. They're providing food, clothing, and shelter, transportation, and communication for you. You have to obey them. And I'm not an advocate for disobeying your parents. I don't care what they believe in. You honor your parents, that your days may be long. But that does not mean that you have to agree with your parents' religious doctrine. So you can disagree without being disobedient.
That may be difficult to do or to understand. How would they do that? How would they remain obedient? But I don't want to go to church this Sunday, or I don't want to go on Saturday, or I don't want to go to the mosque, or I just don't want to go today. So I don't want to dishonor my parents, but I don't want to do this because I'm 17, 18, 16 years old. I might want to hang out with my friends. So how do we navigate that?
At 16, 17 years old, you should be able to make that decision. I know in Islam, a 16-year-old can make their own decision. They can declare their own belief.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Say, this is what I believe in. I believe in the religion of Islam as taught by Elijah Muhammad. It's a declaration of belief. And just because you were born in a specific belief is not transferable. You don't inherit belief. Every tub has to stand on its own bottom. I agree. It's a very difficult process to navigate for young people. It is.
A lot of young people don't, like you say, don't have that choice of emancipation. They know this is it. This is what you're gonna do. I don't want to hear it. I don't care how old you. I don't care how old you are. As long as you're under my rule, you're under my rules. You're gonna do what I say. You don't want to do it. Get out and get shown.
Well,
and it is really that strict under some.
I get that. I ran a job program for teenagers for 30-some years. And if I had in my 20s and 30s and 40s what I have now, which is, acres of land, I'd have took those children and built a school. And those parents would have gave them to me. I know this for a fact. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
Sometimes you have to deal with collateral damage. We're going to lose some children because of this. But I'm never going to tell a child to disrespect their parents. I don't disrespect mine now. I mean, when I changed my name, I asked my parents, I'm a grown 100+ man with children. But out of respect and love for my father and mother, I'm going to ask. I didn't ask them. I'm just letting them know, how do y'all feel about it? You understand what I'm saying? But this is a different time period where children and parents don't have that kind of connection. And then we are so much in the information age. You understand what I'm saying? So children can actually go online and read about different religions and things of that nature, different belief systems and everything that goes along with that. But when you're, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, when you start getting about 12 and 13, 14 years old, you really start seeing the rebellious manifest itself in a whole different way. Parents, I'm fortunate because my parents wasn't like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was more like that than my parents as a Muslim. We going and this is what we want to do. And, like I said, as a parent, I did similar things. You understand what I'm saying? But they were young children at the time. And what were they going to do at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old? The problem with religion, and that's all religions, is that religious people do not consider children. Okay?
No, not at all.
So right now in this time period, children are already rebelling. We're looking at right at prophecy, where the daughters are against the mothers. This is already happening, regardless of what they claim to believe in. So they're not rebelling because you're telling them to go to church. You got a rebellious, hard-headed child, period. Some don't believe in no God, don't believe in anything but hard-headedness, stiff-necked, and being rebellious, because that's what is taking place. There has to be a penalty. There is no easy way out of this. And some children are going to lose their life. And that's just a reality. That's unfortunate, but it's the truth, because you want to save them all, but it cannot be done. In the making of the white man, Jacob or Yaqub on an island of Patmos in the Aegean Sea, he murdered a lot of men, women, and children. A lot of men, women, and children will continue to be intellectually murdered because of this false religious doctrine. So what you have to do is you have to consider and understand that there will be losses, and don't take it personally. And that's where the truth comes in to help. It's a hard pill to swallow. I would never tell a child to disrespect your parents. I remember some years back, I was at my mother's house doing some work. This is a true story. A young guy over there, next door to my mom, he's staying with his grandmother. And his grandmother was trying to get him to do something. And he was yelling at her, fussing at her. He was an elementary school guy at the time. And she bought all this equipment for him, because he played sports. Mm-hmm. And I'm outside doing some work, and he's yelling at his grandmother. I said, "Well, who the hell you think you're talking to?" He said, "Who are you?"
Oh, you didn't know him?
No, you know him. Yeah, I had to know him. So my mother said, "You better listen to my son." So we got through it. And by the time I got finished with him, I had him doing push-ups.
I don't learn.
Well, not only that, I had a conversation with him about being disrespectful. That boy he's going to end up making him a lot of money and going to look after his grandmother if she lived long enough to see it. I do believe that. Mm-hmm. And I do believe my intervention going to have something to do with it. I believe that. I just happen to be there. But that's not you. I can't be in millions of households to do that. I've taught in the jails. I ran a job program for teenagers, and I see those children alive. I'm not sad about it, but I've never, and I never will, to tell a child to disrespect and dishonor their parents. I don't care what happens, unless the child is physically abused, raped, maimed, anything that goes along with that. But as far as religion and stuff like that, what I tried to do with the children that worked for me, because they knew I was a Muslim, and I just taught them Islam. But I never taught them Islam from a religious standpoint. I may go, "Hey, let me hear your sales pitch," because I'm in a job program. We did door-to-door sales. Mm-hmm. And within the sales pitch itself, I was teaching them the truth about God, even when I coached basketball. So, and I've never had a parent, "Don't you be trying to convert my child to know Islam." I never had nobody tell me that. Never, because I never disrespected the parents that way. I had to respect the parents in such a way that if you want to go to church, now there have been times that I've had conversations with teenagers, and I remember a group of young cats from the north side, Highland Park area. They were like, "Coach Jay, we're going to church, we're going to get baptized."
Okay, that's good.
So it's a damn good question you asked me. I got a lot of experience in this.
Yes.
Thank a lot for that. So I said, yeah. I said, so tell me something. What happened when you get baptized? He said, well, the preacher put me in the water.
Mhm.
I said, ain't you got some damn water at home?
No, you didn't.
Let me finish now. He said, yeah, I got some water at home. I said, so can't you put your own self in the water? I said, so the preacher put you some water and said some words, right? So now you cleansed, you saved now, right?
Yes.
He said, yes, sir. I said, so what makes the preacher better than you? Can't you bathe your own self, clean your own self, and confess your belief? Can't you do that? Do you need somebody to do that for you? Damn, coach, I ain't never looked at it like that. That's all I said. I didn't say don't go.
Right.
I didn't say your mother's wrong. I didn't say none of that.
But you gave him something to think about
Uh-huh.
that makes sense to me, because I've had questions like that, but yeah, and it's comical, not making light. But when you break it down like that, it's like, well, dang. I mean,
It's water,
right?
right? You know, damn,
You know.
what's difference in the water in the church? It's still damn city water.
guess it's
Hell is
sac-
wrong with you,
I
old
guess-
damn stupid
I
fool?
guess it's sanctified. I don't know.
What's sanctified about it? It's coming from the municipality or the county or the city where you live.
Look,
It's the church, as country folks say, it's a church up yonder. It's the church up the road up there, right?
yes.
Okay, they got a bathtub in there.
It's not a bathtub. It's a baptismal pool.
It's a tub. And it's water. Where the water coming from?
I'm sorry.
Where is the water coming from, Miss Miller?
From the city.
All right then. So what makes it holy? Why is it more holy in the church house than it is in your house?
Okay, moving on. Thank you for that response, brother.
But it's a difficult challenge. I mean, I'm grateful for my parents. So when I accepted Islam, this is a true story. You know, when I decided I was introduced to Islam, I still was a teenager. You know, I wanted to play basketball. I like playing. You know, my cousin, he was my favorite cousin at the time. He's like, boy, you got to come on into this teaching. I said, man, I'm going to the NBA. I don't know what the hell you talking about. As fate had it, less than 10 years later, I'm there. And basketball didn't work out. None of that worked out. You know, and it was sometimes God just he would do it himself. Some of us are born to do this. Some of us, it don't require all of that.
Right.
I was born to do this. I was born to get out for this devil. But it took me years to realize that. But then, you know, you have to still leave some things for the young people to find themselves. Because even if you start telling them, well, your mother is wrong and your dad is wrong or your grandmama is wrong and da-da-da-da-da, you're still not giving them the opportunity to discover who they are.
I'm glad you said that. And that leads me to my next point, or these questions, you know, points in my head. But, you know, my question about, you know, parents and you know, or confronting, you know, whomever. I agree with that too. I would never tell anyone, you know, young, old, whatever, even, you know, myself, I never disrespect my parents. But if I were asked by a young person, well, you know, well, what do I do? What I would say, my advice to them is just have a conversation. Just have a simple conversation.
So what you said when they said, I've tried that already.
Okay, well, try again. And if conversation doesn't work, then write a letter. They can't interrupt a letter. You know, just leave it, just read it for them, leave it for them to read. You know, just keep trying. And then if that doesn't work, then okay, you just may have to just suffer to be so until you can, you know, be on your own. So that's what I said.
The whole, well, you understand, you know, I grew up in a time period where you started school with a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you pledge allegiance to the flag of the United Snakes of America.
That is not how the Pledge of Allegiance goes.
These are snakes. And they're
It
not United States.
It is.
These are this United States.
That's true.
Every damn state got a different law. What you talking about?
That may be true.
You
but
talking to God
that's
right now.
not
You ain't talking to ordinary
not what
man.
it say.
I done told you now. I keep telling y'all, it's the difference than being in the presence of God and doing the will of God. So,
Okay.
the United States of America. The point I'm trying to make to you is that this is a process.
Yes, sir.
They know exactly what they're doing. So, by taking prayer out of school, and then you also remove discipline. You made it difficult for parents to discipline their children.
By moving prayer out of schools?
No, I didn't say by removing prayer.
Okay.
So I'm saying this is all it's all by design.
Oh.
Remember, every weapon comes out of the mind and hearts of men, of human beings. So this is a weapon to disarm the parents. Now you're talking about in the Black community, so they build projects and say that okay, you can get this housing, but you can't have no man there.
Right.
And the more children you have, the more
more
food stamps we give you, and the more welfare checks we give, more money we give in welfare.
Right.
Well, that was by design.
Of course.
Okay. Right. Integration led by Martin Luther King and those others, handkerchief head rascals. They set Black people back 500 years. That's what they did. He was a great orator, but he was scared to death and he loved white folks. I'm talking about Martin Luther King Jr. And I don't care who don't like it.
No, I've heard that.
And toward the end of his life, he realized that he was wrong. But it was too late. That's my point. It's too late. You have to make this decision. But he was a staunch opposer to Elijah Muhammad. He was. And finally, he got an opportunity to go sit down with the man. And the man said, you can see he wanted to believe me, but he was too scared. That's what that 64 years done. Especially Black men, with all of their haughtiness, and I'm not going to say ours because I'm not in that week. The better than average Black man today is full of fear. He's a coward. He's envious. He's jealous. He hates himself. Well, he will kill his own Black brother, though. He will rape his own Black sister. But when it comes to the oppressor, he's a coward. That's why the oppressor can walk around Black people and feel so comfortable.
Well, I feel like because we were never taught how to fight and how to kill the oppressor. We were taught how to kill our own, but we were never taught how
Of course, that's
to
why.
fight them.
Of course, that's why. But there are some people who are born. You ain't got to be taught that.
Very few.
Yeah, we're looking at one. And I'm not going to physically go kill nobody.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But the way I fight them back is through things like this. I use the technology and I use, my gifts. Thank Allah for that. To be able to teach people the truth. It's up to people whether they want to accept it or reject it. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the way you overcome white oppression is to stop depending on them. Mm. So as long as you can, if you're going to go to church, if you're not going to go to church, then this is a whole nother step to this. You can become conscious, like all these talking heads, and one day I may call their names, put them all on the spot. And you can find them all on YouTube. They got millions of followers and they getting all kind of bread because they can talk. And y'all are making ignorant people famous.
That's true.
And stop sending me that mess because I don't want to hear nothing they got to say. I really don't. Nothing.
Have you seen it? Well, I'm not even going to bring that up. But.
So my point is this. This is going to be a long, drawn-out process of escaping slavery.
Can we go back to the beginning of the conversation? If I can interject real quick, where you had said about people who, or let's use it, an atheist, for example, where the atheist doesn't believe in God, they don't believe in nothing. They have a job, they have, food, they got the same things that I got, and I go to church. So my answer to that would be, it rains on the just and the unjust alike. Or, what's the scripture that says the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous?
Mhm.
So, I'm over here, doing what I have to do, believing in God, believing in Jesus, and I'm meek and I'm humble, but that's okay. I see you prospering. You don't believe in him, but that's all right because you're going to fall one day. The devil, I heard people say the devil can bless people too. If the devil is a God, he can bless people too.
Damn right the devil can bless people.
Okay.
So that's where you get your job from. You get your job from the devil.
Okay.
But you're giving glory to some God that you don't even know who it is. You're really giving glory to the white man because he is your God.
So
therefore, ain't no soul, it's a reality.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
So you can play whatever advocate you want. I ain't playing God, I am God. So it doesn't make a difference. The point I'm trying to make to you, sister, is that without black people organizing ourselves and building our own world, you're going to always be blessed or cursed by the white man until you get out of the white man system. And that's just a reality.
So I agree 100%.
And that's going to take centuries. Like I said, in my brain resides at least 1,000 years, maybe 1,500 years of wisdom, of divine wisdom. And I'm not playing around with this. I'm not guessing. So it has to be a process of renewal. We covered this last week and the week before from the book of Romans. You quote the scripture. You said it. Must be transformed by what?
The renewing of your mind.
And be not conformed to what?
This world.
Okay. So just look at it again. He said, come out of her.
Be ye separate.
Okay.
Come ye out from among them.
Uh-huh.
Be ye separate.
Right. So, but when you come out of them, where are you going? That's the point I'm trying to get y'all to understand. You still don't have a destination of where you're going.
You got to create it. You have to build it.
Now we're talking. That's how you confront your tormentor. You go build a new world. And they're gonna watch you, they're gonna wish you fail. How many people wish that I fail? Wish that I actually die?
Of course.
I mean, there are people literally that wish I go away.
Yeah.
And that's gonna happen one day, and they're gonna be like, phew, glad he gone.
Of course. Yeah.
Because what did the Jesus say? He said, all men will hate you for my name's sake, and those who endure to the end shall be saved. What does that mean? Jesus, the name Jesus actually means justice. So all who men hate me because I teach separation. I'm not budging. Black men and women alike, they despise me. And I use it as fuel because I understand what we wrote in the Bible and the Holy Quran. I can find myself in there. And once you find yourself in there, sister, this is going to be very easy. Your parents, my mother may be she may be the most intellectual, superior woman that I've ever met. Honestly, she's a genius. But she don't mess with me. Not when it comes to God. And I don't mess with her because that's my mom. And she about 5'2" and don't play around. I don't mess with her. I do not mess with that woman. So I try to have these conversations with her. And when I have them, they are very generic. But that's the way my relationship, exists with my parents. It's the same way with my dad up until, he passed away a few months ago. When I first came into Islam, he was kind of, he kind of said some things to me, but I don't mess around with my daddy. So I had to learn, that's my daddy. He'll whoop my behind. I don't care what I believe in contrary to what he believes. I ain't gonna disrespect him. you got a different child today.
Absolutely.
So these children don't know how to be independent without disrespecting their parents. And that's all by design. So you say, well, so the children are now, because they don't have any freedom. And then the other thing that's missing, they don't have friends. I mean,
their friend is a telephone or that tablet or that game
or video games, right? All this is by design. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Y'all not listening to me. This white man, he have come up with a system to kill our future. Do you know what he's doing? Damn devil.
Oh, you're right. You spot on with that. You're right.
I mean, if I had friends growing up.
Oh yeah, we did too. We played outside till the sun went down.
And then we went to work and we had fun and we did all kind of stuff. And then at the end of the day, mama said, okay, boy, you got to be home by 8:30. And don't you be out there running with them little fast hot pots gals either. Because I was a late bloomer because of my mom. Make sure I was no teenage father. So my friend, they picked with me. Boy, you scared of girls? No, I ain't scared. I'm scared of my mama.
You're right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. And that's another thing. I'll cut you off, but that's another thing when you talk about, young people don't have friends, but families don't have conversations anymore. Have you noticed that with especially these new houses, the way a lot of these new houses are built, we don't have dining rooms anymore, which eventually took away kitchen tables. We don't eat at kitchen tables anymore.
I know it's by design.
Most everybody, go to their room, on their phone, in the TV. Everybody has their own space. So
my oldest daughter was telling me about that last 2 weeks ago. And she was like, everything that we partake of is not in accordance with our nature.
Nope.
Even the furniture. This is what she said, my oldest daughter. Mm-hmm. And she went deep into that thing. The foods we eat, the utensils we use, like you said, the construction of the homes, the HVAC systems, all of this is designed.
Everything. Smart meters and all that stuff.
But where did it come from? It came from the engineering of the white man, who is the devil. And I know some of y'all love white folks. I'm not saying, I'm not gonna call nobody out individually. I'm talking about the white man as a people. They are the devil. That's their nature. They can't do no more than what they've done. That's all they can do is deceive and lie and kill and murder. Instead of them using the cross and come burning in your yard with white sheets and stuff on, now they give you a stimulus check.
Financial lynching.
$1,200. Imagine 12 million people get $1,200. 12 million black people get $1,200. You know how much money that is? It's about $14,400,000,000, something like that. 14 billion. That's just for $1,200 check in 2020. Then you say, go take that spike. Go take that vaccine. It's the mark of the beast. So all of this, you're not going to turn this around just because you woke up. It's not going to happen like that. The best way to help those young people is be an example of it. And then when they get, I got young folks in my family, who probably thought I was crazy when they were younger. And they come back and say, damn, cuz, you told us this 30-some years ago. Yeah. I did. You hear white folks talking about now intermittent fasting, like something they came over.
It ain't new. That ain't nothing new. Nothing new under the sun.
So when Elijah Muhammad started teaching fasting, eating one meal a day, and then, once a month, you abstain for food between 2 days to 7 days. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what white folks do. They take that which is ours and they try to make it their own. So now black people walk up to me and say, man, you know about intermittent fast? I want to smack the hell out of them. So nigga, I told you this 40 years ago. You thought I was crazy. No, you gotta eat, man. No, I don't. I can eat 1 meal a day. So now, because white man said it, see, these are people we can lose and not miss them. Okay? So that's what happens. I mean, I went to an event last year sometime, and you hear somebody talk about black on this and black on that. But when I started talking about it when we was in our 20s, they thought something was wrong with me. I mean, I have friends that grew up in the church. They was preachers and everything. When they talk to me, I said, no, I don't do religious no more, man. So what you do? I'm conscious. No, you still got the wrong God, though. You still have the wrong God. So to free children totally, they have to be taught the right knowledge of God. And God is who? I'm asking you. God is who?
Man.
Man. That's what they need to know.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
Anything else?
No, sir. I don't have anything else right now.
So did we
enjoy.
Did we get your point across there? Because I know you had some things that you wanted to identify.
I think we covered that.
Let's go into a little bit deeper because I'm gonna go deeper.
What
you know, because some people will watch this, and especially, you know, people that I know and people that you know, and they, you know, could have some type of feelings about, you know, what you're doing, especially the way you were raised up. And you may say this, and she's doing everything contrary to what we taught her as a little girl. You know, or
right, I am, because I know how to read. And I'm not being disrespectful, but I listen. I go further than, and like I said this last week and said this the week before, I go further than the biblical text. You know, I listen, I ask questions. I understand that the Bible is not meant to be taken literally. Most everything in there is allegories. And it tells you that.
And a lot of things are contradictory too.
Right, a lot of things
are contradictory. Because there's certain things that said no man can die to save another. That's in the book. You know, I ain't going through no Bible scripture, and all that kind of stuff, because it don't make any difference. Right. People, like I said, I tell people, King James Version Bible, King James Version of the Bible, get past that. Once you get past that, and you stop and think about that for 2 years, then you should open up the book. Ask yourself, who was King James? Who authorized him to translate diligently the word of God from the original people?
You can find that information out in 0.01 second. We live in the information age. Nothing's a secret anymore. You want to know.
Of course,
the information is there. Do the research on your own, please. That's it. Just all we have to do is think. That's it. Just think. That's it. That's all I want you to do. Just think about it. You'll be like, it don't make no sense.
You know, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper in this. I'm a Muslim, and a Muslim is one who submits to do the will of God, the true and living God. So we say we have to separate, because the white man is also God. He's the God of his world. So when I said God, I'm talking about the righteous God, and that's Allah. Allah is just an Arabic word. Like back in the day, they called God Jehovah or Yahweh. So there's different names. You understand what I'm saying? So I teach Islam. I mean, I actually am considered a Black Muslim minister. All right? But I don't teach Islam in accordance with the traditional Black Muslim minister. I don't. You know why?
Why is that?
Because I have to free those people from religious ignorance. Just because you can read a thing, it doesn't mean that you can comprehend it. Hold on, number one, let me give you an example. So you're gonna have me stretch, because I don't want nobody to think that I'm attacking Christianity. I'm dealing with religious ignorance, period.
Well, hurry up.
All right. I'm going to do this for the audience. This is a book titled Message to the Black Man in America, written by Elijah Muhammad. What it really is, it's a compilation of articles. This book is titled Message to the Black Man in America. And what it is a compilation of articles and speeches that was put into a book form. Because you said something, all you got to do is research and read it. I'm saying that's true. But it's more complicated than that. Why? Because of what you said, the religious trauma. It's hard to see. In this book, he said, this article is titled Of Land and a Nation. He said, what we must understand today is the importance of acquiring land of our own. We are no longer a mere handful of people. We're a little better than 22 million in population and still increasing. So now we're almost 50 million. He said, we cannot forever continue to depend upon America to give us a job, send us to school, build our houses, and sell us her food and give nothing in return. All right? Now, this is what I'm trying to get you to understand and the audience to understand. Even Muslim people have that same problem. So I'm not attacking Christianity per se. I'm attacking the inability to comprehend and analyze truth. And this is what he wrote. This book was published in 1965. He said, in order to build a nation, you must first have some land. From our first generations of slaves to the present generation of our people, we have been unable to unite and acquire some land of our own due to the mental poisoning of our former slave masters, who destroyed in us the desire to think and do for self and kind.
That's still true today.
All right. So you look around the Black Muslim community. Have you seen us unite and acquire some land to build our own world?
No.
Why?
Don't know.
I just read it to you. Why?
Because of the
Black
mental
Muslims.
poison.
Go ahead now. There you go. All righty now. It's my sister right here. But when I ask Black Muslims this question, they would never go back to why he said this hasn't happened. It's due to the mental poisoning. So even Black Muslims, most of them, because I'm not in that us, they still can't comprehend what he wrote. And this is 50 years old.
Well, then let me
Finish my point.
Okay.
Because what I'm really trying to do is amplify that I'm not attacking no one religious mindset. I'm telling you that all religious people have the same problem, which is analyzation and comprehension, because they never want to apply it to themselves. So we have who is the 85%? See? And 85% they refer to as the poison animal eaters. Slaves from mental death and power. Savages. Uncivilized people who do not know their origin in this world and believe in that which they know not what, who are easy to lead in the wrong direction and hard to lead into the right direction. So if he said that we have been unable to unite and acquire some land due to mental poisoning, then who is the 85%? It would be the people who haven't been able to do it. So I teach unite and acquisition of land out here.
In America, it's for sale.
Well, whether America's for sale or not, but we could do this on small intervals. So why haven't the Black Muslim do it?
Gotta free your mind, and the rest will follow. You have to free your mind.
The point I'm making, Ms. Miller, is that all religious people have the same problem. They never apply this to me. So when I started applying this to myself, because I've been reading this book since the 70s, 80s. And I'm like,
we're traumatized.
Okay, there we go. So I'm not here just dealing with the white man's Christianity as opposed to dealing with what the white man's Christianity has done. All of us has been mentally poisoned. And even people right today, they eat 1 meal a day. They pray 5 times a day. They go through all the rituals. We still ain't got no damn land. We still have not become universal rulers. Hold on, I'm not finished with this. I'm not finished.
You're definitely speaking some truth. Absolute truth.
Ain't nothing else to speak. There's nothing else to speak. This book is titled Our Savior Has Arrived by the same author, Elijah Muhammad. And this article is titled Never Taught a True Knowledge of God. This is the problem with us as a people. And this is taken from chapter 8, page 20 in the book, Our Savior Has Arrived. I'm trying to tell you that the Muslim community have the same problem. All Black people have the same problem, regardless of what they claim to believe in, sister. The so-called Negroes' problem of getting the truth is very hard. But the hardest problem to solve is getting them to believe it after getting it in their ears. This is due to their being brought up solely under the teachings of their enemies. I'm going over to the next page. The so-called American Negroes, with their God Allah, shall become the universal rulers. Believe it or not, they can do it now if they will quit this slavery religion called Christianity. Have we become the universal rulers?
No, we have not.
Why?
Because we can't get rid of the, what does it just say? Get rid of the
Christianity. So do you see Black Muslims ruling?
No.
Why?
Because they can't get rid of it.
Okay, so what makes us any better than y'all? None. You got my point now? So people in the audience, don't take that I'm attacking your religion. I'm attacking the white man's Christianity. And that's not your religion. And even after getting the truth that we shall become the universal rulers, you still see no sign of it. And why am I out here by myself? I just told you. Because all men will hate me, hate you for Elijah's name's sake. This is Elijah teaching this. And what did he teach? What did he teach? He taught separation. He taught the black man that we must organize ourselves and build our own civilization. That's what he taught us. That's what he taught black people all over the United States and all throughout the world. But you got people right today, they still don't believe it. And they said, no, we got to sit and we got to wait for Allah. He already done told you that the black man is Allah. So Muslim people, all religious people got the same idiotic belief system. They still believe in that which does not exist. They can call it what they want. They can call themselves Muslim. They can call themselves God. They can call themselves Allah. They can call themselves conscious, or whatever. But you still don't have an independence. Am I making sense to you?
Too much sense. Yes.
So young people, and that's why I tell people, by the time you get to Jasir Khabir, you don't met who?
God.
All righty then. You believe me now.
Isn't that funny? Yes, sir. Yes.
So Muslim people have the same problem. Yesterday was our annual celebration of the coming of the Son of Man, Master Farad Muhammad. Every year. So, we go through these rituals. We do the same thing. But anyway, somebody calling the heck out of my phone, and I get to it when I can. Anything else? Entertain it all you please.
So how do we free ourselves? How do we get our identity back before we get to the end goal? Because you said every step, you have to take it one step at a time.
So before there's a we, there has to be a who.
Well, a me.
Has to be a me, right.
Just
Before there's a we, it has to be a me. So you got to look at perspective. Turn that W the other way. Only person you can control is you.
Right.
So you have to worry about Charette. And I think you're doing that. That's all you can be responsible for. It's Charette Miller. And you teach this to the children, and you teach this to the people that, that are interested. And once you get to the point that you understand the importance of how to get this knowledge and what this knowledge will do, this knowledge came to us to free us. Elijah Muhammad taught about Samson. He said black people in America, they want to tear their house down, but they still have nowhere to go. You still, though you want to tear the white man's civilization down, you don't have the knowledge how to build a new one.
Right.
Nor will you allow your black behind to be taught by somebody that do. That's the real problem. So when I tell you that I got at least 1,000 years of wisdom in my head, I'm one of those people that can teach you and train you how to do it. It's not enough to just escape the wrong. You have to be taught the right. And that's as simple as I can make it, Ms. Miller. Somebody have to teach it.
Right. You have to be willing to accept it. You have to be willing to accept it.
Well, you can't teach your people that don't want to be taught. Yeah, I'm not forcing nobody. You don't see no big sign out here say, okay, y'all come listen to me. When you first looked me up, you couldn't find me. That was on purpose. I'm only doing this podcast because you suggested it. I didn't want to be found. You pulled me out of darkness. I didn't want to be found. But it was time.
Oh, I think I was supposed to answer this question. I'm not a heretic. Okay. People, say I'm a heretic, or I'm a blaspheming God, or like I say, I'm doing that which I was not raised to believe. I'm contradictory. Yes. No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking for myself. That's all it is. I'm just thinking for myself. There's nothing wrong with that. Is that a crime to think for yourself?
No, it's a crime not to think for yourself.
Okay. Exactly.
But it's also a crime not to have the right knowledge.
Right.
So folk going to call you everything. I get called a lot of names. You know what they can never call me? Wrong. Say he's mean. I am. I mean what I say. This is a mathematical theological complex that we got to unravel. I mean, this requires high mathematics. This is why you need engineers, civil engineers, construction engineers. I consider myself a civil engineer and a behavior engineer. That's what I consider myself. But we need all types of qualified people. We don't have a financial problem. We got a divine problem. We don't have an economic problem. We got a divine problem. Of all the knowledge that we can acquire or obtain, the knowledge of God is the most necessary. It's the most vital. When you talk about the knowledge of self, we still are without the knowledge of self. And we don't want to be taught it. So we suffer. We're going to continue to suffer. And our children are going to be suffering. Those young children that you asked about, they are suffering because of what the parents did, what the grandparents did, and the great-grandparents did, and so on and so forth. Because once God brought us the truth, then we can't blame the white man no more. And I can go way beyond the white man's existence, Genesis 6,000 years ago. And I can go way further than that and see this weakness in us started before the white man even came on the planet.
Let me interject this in while it's still in my brain. Going back to the parent-child relationship, how do we, or how would one deal with an issue of being so indoctrinated at such a young age, and that which is normal is taught that is abnormal, and that has caused me, I'm going to say me, to develop a very serious mental disturbance through no fault of my own.
Mm-hmm.
How do I break free from that? How do I get my righteous mind back?
So what I want you to do, Ms. Miller, I want you to spell out for our audience and our listening, how did you and I meet?
Well, I started, I'm gonna take it back to the book. I started writing this book back in August. I didn't meet you until December. And it was through a referral, of course, because there's no other way to find you.
So why were you referred to me? For what reason?
Because I was going through some trauma and some mental distress.
So let these people know that I do counseling.
Oh yes, this is my counselor or behavior therapist.
Yes.
So I have to, I'm learning now to understand why I make some of the decisions that I do or I have. I don't have a relationship problem. I have a behavior problem. I need to know why.
And what have you learned so far from that?
I've learned that it's me. I can fix me.
Using what?
Using the truth.
My sister. That's how simple it is. That's how you overcome it. That's how you overcome the trauma.
Mm-hmm. So is that what you would tell, to a young adult that's listening?
Yes, I would tell anybody. If you come to me for counseling, and I get a lot of people to call me, and they want to be counseled. And I know some people out say, how the hell he counsel somebody? He seemed like he bet shit crazy. No, I'm not crazy. Nowhere near crazy. I'm more than qualified to help you get through it because I only live in truth. I tell the truth. And our methods at the New World of Thought Behavior Counseling Services, it gives you the intellectual tools to solve your own problems. So this broadcast and how we ended up here came from our counseling services.
Yes, sir. Yes, it
That's-
did. I'm not there yet. I'm still in, you know.
It's a
I'm
6-month
still-
process.
right.
So, we're doing, so really what you're doing is by us doing this program, you're writing your own antidote. I didn't tell you that part. I just told you,
I knew that.
yeah. Well, I'm confirming it if you already know it. So this part is important.
Because this is the part of it.
This is a part of it. And you wouldn't have got this by you writing that book. I said, okay, she can solve her own problems. It's going to take a little longer, but by you writing that book, when I read that book, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a very difficult challenge for me as a counselor. But I know once you get it, I know what is going to happen. You know, you're going to be something to be content with.
Well, this had nothing to do with you.
None at all. No.
And when I started, working with you, I gave it to you
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to share that with you.
Right.
And which you initially refused. You said, no, I'm not gonna read it. I don't need to. And I was like, no, I insist. I want you to, because I want you to understand me. Or as much as I can, convey onto these pages. And that is how this started. So that's how we ended up here.
Yeah. And once I read it, I couldn't put it down because I was very familiar with with that pain, with that trauma. I was very familiar with it. And, but more importantly, I saw you and I still see you as a soldier for God, for the right God though. And that's the connectivity that we have. It's a righteous one. Because my responsibility and the only reason why I am fighting to continue to live is to confront tormentors. This is the battle or the war of Armageddon. Truth versus falsehood. And if it's a war, in order for you to have, one of the components in war is death. Another component in war is saving people from death. Another component is destruction, injury. But where all that come from? You got to have soldiers. You have to have generals. You got to have men in ranks and women that are trained militarily. So in the Nation of Islam, our men are considered the fruit of Islam. FOI. That's the military training of the men that belong to Islam in North America. So that's the basis of my training. I'm a soldier in this war. I'm not a fan. I'm a real soldier here. Praise be to Allah. So my responsibility as a soldier is to go and free the captives. And we have women that are also soldiers, but you don't soldier the way we do. You soldier the way women do. And there's a class for women called the MGT-GCC, Muslim Girl Training General Civilization Classes. Teach you how to act at home and abroad, cook, clean, soap, take care of your children and your husband, and so on and so forth. So I'm not trying to convert nobody to no religion. I'm trying to convert you to Islam. I'm kidding about that. I'm kidding about your religious beliefs. Do you believe in freedom of the black man? If you believe in freedom of the black man, those are bill collectors. I tell them to call me back when they fix the economy. No, I'm just joking.
Good answer.
So if you believe that black people should be free, then you're my sister and I'm your brother. If you don't believe that, then we're not brothers and sisters. That's the way it works. If you don't believe the black people need to be free and you're not working toward it, I consider you an adversary to the truth. So that's why we got to this point, and you have to display some righteousness. Don't commingle things, and you have to compartmentalize things. And I have to be an example of that which I teach. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the way. That's I'm going to bring this to a close because I could be here till tomorrow this time and not repeat myself. But that's the basis, the genesis of our interaction. You were referred to me by, a client of mine that I provided counseling services to, and but I know that I knew when I first talked with you that you had way above average intelligence because of the questions you asked me, and those questions, form the basis for learning. And I hope you got those questions answers. Why I don't need counseling? Because I deal in the truth. Do I have moments of pensiveness and melancholy? Yes, I do. But I don't have moments of depression like you may consider being depressed, or someone else that have deep-seated emotions of depression. I don't go through that. I go through bouts of loneliness because I know what got to be done, and I know I'm out here by myself. You understand what I'm saying? And everybody around me, for the most part, most of these people out here don't know who I am. And I choose for that because it's not the time. As a soldier, I got to know ADT, aim, distance, timing. And when it's time for me to fire that weapon, it has to be a kill shot. So my aim and my distance could be correct, but if my timing is off, I still can't fire the weapon. If my distance is off, I can't fire the weapon. My aim is off, you definitely cannot fire the weapon. So you have to have the wisdom to know when to fire that weapon because you're only going to get one shot at it. And that's the beauty of being by myself, because if I had others out here, they would know how to juggle those three oranges. So I can juggle it. Then you got two other people trying to stick their hand in, they're going to confuse them. Before you know it, the bomb going to drop. So I can juggle the dynamite. I got 3 sticks of dynamite in my hand, and I'm juggling them. And then I'm going to hit the ground. But a person has to learn how to juggle dynamite. Otherwise, you'll create an earthquake underneath your own feet. Experiment on high explosion. Can't do that. So I have to teach people when they come here how to juggle dynamite. To answer your question, you in the dynamite juggling class. So we're gonna bring this to a close.
So thank you for those closing remarks.
Go ahead, you can close it out.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say thank everyone, for joining us. You can catch us next week here. I do believe same time, same station. If you haven't picked up the book and you would like a copy, you can visit us on Amazon. The book is on Amazon under the title, The Most Fascinating Person I've Never Met, Charette Miller. And you can also visit our Facebook page. And if you would like to send an email, the email address is listed on the Facebook page as well. The Most Fascinating Person I've Never Met. Email address is unitedstatusofauthors.com. Or if you would like to reach out to Brother Jasir, he knows how to get in touch with me as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. And look forward to next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening.